Hello, this is Nick here from Gorgon Reviews, and I'm talking with Mike and Ryland, the creative, dare I say, geniuses behind the film Hundreds of Beavers. They are co-writers with Mike directing and Ryland starring. Hundreds of Beavers is about a man placed in extreme winter conditions, suddenly figuring out how to survive and figuring out how to be a killing machine over time through hijinks and shenanigans. Thank you so much for spending time here today. I actually
Yeah, no, thanks
saw,
for having us, Nick. Sorry to interrupt you. Thanks for having us.
I'll let you interrupt me. I actually saw
Well,
this
now
film.
I got a foot in door. Now I'm leading the show.
Oh no, I've already lost control. I saw this film for the first time in Fantastic Fest in 2022, so almost a year and a half ago at this point.
Oh, awesome.
I'm happy to see that your tour is actually taking place. You're getting to show it to people outside of the festival circuits. And on the note of seeing movies in theaters, what's the first movie you remember seeing in theaters?
Pinocchio. I saw a re-release of Pinocchio in the 90s, and I remember it. I must have been three. Do you have one?
Um, nope, I don't remember.
End of
All
answer.
all the drinking has killed a lot of my brain cells. I'm sorry, Nick.
That's okay. Maybe you've never seen a movie in theaters.
Well, I only see this movie now in theaters. It's the only thing I see anymore.
And not the middle.
No.
Mike, besides directing and editing, you've also done animation. And apparently you were the lead animator for a few episodes of The Get Down. And
Oh
I'm one
yeah.
of the few people who like watched and liked that show. So how did that come about?
Yeah, I forgot about that. It was a kid. I was a lead animator. Gosh, this guy Mac Williams, his company's Pig Apple, got hired to do some scenes, the animated scenes that were done in the Archer pipeline. So it's puppet animation, but it is actually in After Effects
Hmm.
instead of Toon Boom. So it's an interesting animation pipeline that I don't know if I used anything from that I learned on that on Beavers, probably. But yeah, that's just how powerful After Effects is. It was our, compositing software, effects software, and color software, but it can also be a full like puppet animation software, or I did sports graphics at Fox Sports for years in After Effects. So After Effects is just every shot of this movie goes through After Effects, and I've had a bunch of different After Effects gigs over the last 13 years. And all those different gigs have added up to, the knowledge that was used on Beavers. But yeah, the Get Down was cool. And I think I was on a Baz Luhrmann email at one point, so it was pretty sick.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, yeah. We had Baz dressed. We wanted him to be a beaver, but he was busy as Elvis.
Yeah, being in Australia. Uh, you've known each other for a long time. Uh, how did you meet and eventually make Lake Michigan Monster?
We met in a high school
A
class.
digital music class.
Boy, what does that tell you? They had a class for digital music in their high school.
Now you wonder why the world is coming to an end.
This was a public high school.
But anyways,
No, let's stay on this. Let's do 30 on this.
yeah, no, I think we were like what, 16 or something,
Mhm.
17, I don't remember, but yeah, that's where we met, and then we just started doing videos together for the school actually, and people really enjoyed those. Like we made like a promotional video for the high school, a history video for the high school, and people really enjoyed them a lot. So we said, we should just keep working together. People seem to like our shtick, and
Yeah.
then yeah, we just kept going into college. We went to separate colleges, but we kept working together. And then eventually we made a short, like a web series called LIPS, which stands for League of Interplanetary Process Servers, which you can go to lipstheshow.com if you want to watch it. But it was like this 23-minute thing, and we tried to sell it to a bunch of places and make a show out of it. And the whole process took a really long time to try to sell LIPS. And in the meantime, I was just kind of like, all right, forget this. This is taking too long. I'm just going to try to make a feature film. And so like I just started shooting things for Lake Michigan Monster and just sending footage to Mike. And Mike's like, oh, you're making a feature film? I'm like, yeah, here's some of the footage. And Mike just started editing it together. And before we knew it, we were just making Lake Michigan Monster together, which in grand total took a little under 2 years to make. And then it just kind of exploded a little bit and did a ton of festivals. And because of the success of Lake Michigan Monster, we were able to raise a little bit more money for beavers.
And
Yeah. Oh,
who
sorry.
who came up with the idea for beavers?
Boy, it's been years. There's no way of knowing. I think it's just a combination of stuff we like. And then the
Mhm.
title came way further into it. But
Yeah.
it's just a combination of Buster Keaton, the short Cops, and then Super Mario and Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, and Super Mario Brothers 2, and Super Mario Galaxy 2, and Super Mario World, and The Wildcat, directed by Ernest Lubitsch.
Over 100 years ago. But yeah, I mean, and then the inception of the idea, conception.
Here, have a beer.
Thank you.
Sponsor.
That started very small. Mike was like, hey, let's make like a winter movie with mascots falling down that involves like sledding and snowball fights and stuff. So it started as a very small idea. We thought, oh, sure, that'll be easy enough to make. We'll make a whole feature out of this little idea, like the old like Donald Duck cartoon, you know?
Mhm.
And that just grew and grew and grew and grew and got to this enormous winter epic.
I forgot. I actually remember the real answer now is that we said that there's a subgenre of slapstick called snow stick
Yeah.
that doesn't have many.
Mhm.
I forgot about that. That's the actual true answer that we have not said on 20 interviews.
I'm
It's
the
an
first one.
exclusive to Gorgon.
Oh,
But
man.
it is like that Donald Duck cartoon is snow stick, you know?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's snow
yeah.
stick. Yeah, you reminded me that we used to talk about snow stick. There's only two snow stick. There's only 4 snow stick features. It's In Alaska with Abbott and Costello. It's Hit the Ice with Abbott and Costello. It's The Gold Rush with Charlie Chaplin. And are those the only 3 snow stick features? Oh, there's a Canadian film I haven't seen called like I don't
Called
know,
like snow stick or something.
some stupid French title.
At the maximum, how many people were running around in animal costumes at the same time in your movie?
Oh, maximum?
Yeah.
Only like what, 3?
God, there's one shot with 6 real.
Well, okay, yeah. There is like this fight scene where we had like 6 actual beavers, you know.
Mhm.
But for the most part, for all the snow stuff, I think the most we ever got was 3 beavers, and we just replicated them over and over again, 2 tower style.
On the note of snow stuff, obviously, I'm not going to go into the graphics and how it's made. I don't know enough about it. A lot of it wasn't real, surprisingly. But when Ryland, you were falling a lot into what looked like real snow, I guess, or something must have been actually falling into. What were you falling into in the movie? Real,
Snow.
real snow?
Yeah. We just tried our best to make the location stuff look fake and tried our best to make the fake stuff look real. And so it all meets in the middle, and hopefully you're just not thinking about what's real and fake.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why the whole movie's blown out too, with the white is blown out, because Mike had to meld together like real snow with like green screen elements and stuff to make this really cohesive look to it. But I mean, like 80% of the movie is actually shot in northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, and even a lot of the green screen stuff we shot on a green tarp outside the cabin. So it was still technically outside.
It's also a very physical role. So how'd you prepare for that? Or maybe even make sure you were safe?
Oh, safety was never part of this project. But no, I don't know. Like I've always, just tried to stay in shape, and I've always played sports and stuff growing up. So you just kind of, from a young age, you just kind of learn how to like take a fall or take a hit, or fall down without, breaking a bone or something. Plus, at the same time, I mean, for the most part, a lot of times you're just falling into snow, which in a big costume. So that helps too, with the extra padding. But as far as look, you can't really prepare yourself for doing like beavers. I think if we had known back then how hard it would be to do beavers, we would have like rethought our whole approach as to how to do it. So, it was actually blissful ignorance to start making this movie.
I've heard it said that Hundreds of Beavers by the end really is just a modern retelling of Romeo and Juliet, but instead of the family feuds, there's just beavers, and instead of the mutual suicide at the end, it's just also beavers. How do you
Yes,
respond to comments like that?
yes, yes. It's also an adaptation of War and Peace, except instead of the peace segments in Moscow, it's Ryland hunting beavers, and instead of the war segments, it's Ryland hunting beavers.
Must have been the same person who made these comments. Yeah. Um, so you have your film tour right now. What's next for the movie? Are you already starting on your next one?
Yes, we've shot a concept trailer, and we've begun establishing the labyrinth of shell companies that will be funding the film. And we have a pitch, and we will be looking for millions of dollars. And that process is already underway, and we promise that the film will be half as funny as Hundreds of Beavers, at least.
It's pretty good. Um, but where's Beavers going? Into
Hopefully,
obscurity?
yeah. Hopefully to the basement of the Library of Congress in the destroy pile. Plan on deleting the original hard drive.
So get to theaters now, you still can, well, it still exists.
Like a real silent film, we plan to destroy it and then use tax money to restore it.
Very popular.
But before it's destroyed, yeah, it's playing, I think we're up to in total now, like 80 theaters across the US and Canada. And that number keeps growing. And then eventually in early April, it'll be available to rent and stream. And then this summer, it'll be available on Blu-ray. So,
for plugging purposes, Hundreds of Beavers nearby me, I'm near Seattle, will be at the Linwood Theater on Bainbridge Island on Saturday,
yeah,
March 9th. There's probably tickets available still. I haven't
yes.
checked.
Bainbridge Island is a great, it's a magical place. I went there for a film fest, and it was such a good time. And I'm so happy that they're having us back. Everyone should go. It's what'd you say? It's at the Linwood, right?
Linwood Theater, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a really cool old theater. So if you're in the Seattle area, you should definitely make the ferry trip over.
I'm actually on Whidbey Island, a different island nearby, and they don't have connecting ferries. It's rude.
Well, you know, our buddy Eric West, who is sort of the Bear Grylls of this whole operation, we couldn't have made this movie without him. He also played like every animal in the movie as well, and he also plays Sean Shaughnessy. Yeah, Sean Shaughnessy in Lake Michigan Monster. He is a ferry captain in that on the Puget Sound. So he lives there. So if maybe we can convince Eric to go show up and do an intro or something.
It sounds made up. This is true.
It is true, believe it or not.
It's a very impressive resume. Being a ferry captain is actually hard. But yeah, that was it. So thank you for showing up to answer questions. I already said where the theater is going to be. For anyone watching this, you're going to want to watch this movie before it gets cool and like popular. That way you can be cooler yourself.
Thanks so much, Nick. Yeah, no, I think that the backlash is coming in like 5 days.
Oh, has PETA contacted you yet? Not yet.